Welcome, everyone, to another episode of ISELP In Motion. Our guest today is Dr. Tracy Turner, an old friend, longtime leader in veterinary medicine. He's been innovator as a surgeon, thermography, and our current AAEP President. So, Tracy, it's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Ken. It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm excited to have a conversation.
Well, we've threatened to have this between the two of us over a period of time, but I'm glad it worked out. I know you've been traveling a lot, so appreciate you making the time. And you know, while I've known you for a long time and through various different parts of your career, some of our listeners don't know you as well. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your journey?
Well, like a lot of people in our profession, from a very young age, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And so I set my goals that way. And early in, actually, my first year of college, I had an opportunity to apprentice with a farrier, which, good skills to have. We're talking 50 plus years ago when I did this. So back in those days, those skills came in really handy. They not only helped me pay for school, but they gave me a different insight into what I was learning. And I think that time I spent as a farrier helped start my career and the way I think about a lot of things.
Well, I mean, just having your hands on the horse's feet and looking at the shape and knowing what you are wanting to do, I'm sure that affected everything you did in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, because from there, interest in lameness. And then I also had made the point when I got to veterinary school that I did not want to be the guy that got out of date. And so I decided to do an internship. So my original plan was do an internship, better my skills. And then I had my eyes set on a place I really wanted to go set up a practice. But during my internship, I literally fell in love with surgery. I had really good mentors. And, there's something about doing surgery that's just a lot of fun. And at the same time, seeing every lameness case that came in to the clinic there. So it was like, for me, it was heaven, two things I dearly love. And so that set the course. So after my internship, I had to go do a residency in surgery. And after the residency, back in those days, you needed the residencies were longer, but you needed a period to keep in touch with other boarded surgeons. And back in those days, they were harder to find than they are today.
Yeah.
And so that's what launched me into academia. And, I first served on the faculty at the University of Illinois, then the University of Florida, and then the University of Minnesota. And I really enjoyed I enjoyed the challenge of the whole thing, the teaching, but you get to do research. Plus, you get to follow your passion of what I wanted to do. And that was surgery, lameness, and the innovation of everything that's happening, trying to be on that wave that's leading the field of developing veterinary medicine. And back in those days, we did a lot of developing because practically every surgery we did, every colic we cut, hadn't been seen before. And, new case reports, new series of cases. And there it is. I finally got frustrated with committee meetings and department administrators, who actually wearing bifocals, they have no vision. And so I had the opportunity to go into private practice. So I did that for a while and decided that I actually wanted to build my own practice. You learn from everything you see and do. And so at the ripe age of 60 plus, I decided to go make my own private practice, and I did that until the end of 2023 when I decided to retire. And basically, the reason I really decided to retire is that during 2023, I was vice president of AAEP, and with everything I was getting to do with that, going, there is no way that I can do the next 3 years involved with hierarchy of AAEP and have a private practice that I, basically run all by myself. I had technicians, but so I was like, okay. I was of an age, we won't call what age it was, but it's an age where the government thinks you should retire. So I decided to retire. I'll tell you, retirement's overrated, but I'm keep busy enough right now that it's, I don't notice it.
Well, and you're in the midst of wrapping up your year. You've had a hugely busy year, and I know you've been doing lots of FEI work. And how's the year been? How's it been treating you, being president of AAEP?
Well, I'll tell you this: it's a very humbling experience. It's humbling and it's exciting at the same time. It's there's a part of me goes, man, I hope I don't mess this up because, I got the whole fate of the equine industry. It's like, but we have such a good organization with AAEP. You can't mess this job up. You could try, but you can't. It's like having a football team with a really good game plan. We've got a game plan. So no matter what happens, but the year has been great. I've visited lots of different colleagues in lots of different parts of the world. And I've been everywhere from Australia to South America, Europe, England. Well, I guess England is part of Europe. So I've been around the map, and I've met a lot of colleagues, and you know what? We're all basically the same, and we're all basically in the same boat. But I can tell you this, as members of AAEP and your AAEP, we really do get a lot of respect around the world. They want to know what we're doing. Because we're actually leading the charge here, for the rest of the equine practitioners in the world.
And I know the AAEP staff is just wonderful, and they seem to really keep it together. They have a small amount of turnover. Those people for years and years, wherever you are in your career. And so with that team, what have you been most proud about your accomplishment this year?
Well, we're continuing with the sustainability. We've switched over from a sustainability to commission, that all that sustainability stuff's now into committees, into regular long-standing committees. So the mission continues to try to evolve, to try to keep things going. We've made a few additions. We've added to the wellness committee, and we put the practice culture and the emergency sustainability parts into that, and call it a healthy practice. Cause that's what it is. These are things that drain you as a practitioner. So healthy practice, which will encompass all these things, is going to be a really important part, and they're doing a lot of work. We're trying to focus on the early career veterinarians. It seems like, or at least some people think, we forgot about them. We haven't forgotten about them. So the internship committee's adding on to that, and now we can put more effort into the early career to help them get what they need to make them better. And part of that is new CE that we're bringing on, small group wet labs. And we launched those about a year ago, and they're working really well. And we hope to have multiple ones every year, to have them all around the country where we can serve our members, with these wet labs to help them. It's like ISELP. ISELP has been so successful in improving that part of the sports medicine area and expanding people. It's what people want, and that's one of the things we're going to try to do, and even a smaller groups than what you generally do. But I think the thing I'm most proud about, well, we've got to also don't forget the student committee. We've never had absolutely a student committee that focuses on the students, focuses on the pipeline into
Right.
the veterinary medicine. And they've got their own committee because it's a constant amount of work. But through the Sustainability Commission, we've really got the faculty advisors and AEP working together to help improve the education they get, and to make more things available to them so that the product that comes out of the veterinary schools is trying to get it ready to go, for practitioners in the field. So that's what happened with the sustainability. That's super. I love that sort of stuff. But I think for me personally, what I'm most proud of is that the initiatives we've started this year relative to social license and advocacy, they tie hand in hand. And I made a point that, if we don't maintain social license for all the equestrian things that we do, there's no reason for us. And with that, the advocacy comes in that we have members in every one of these areas of interest for horses. So let's get our members involved in helping each one of these things, whether it's rodeo, whether it's FEI stuff, backyard horses, whatever it is, have people involved so we make sure that we're presenting the best possible horse welfare. I mean, that's what it's really all about. And then advocate for our profession, because we're kind of subject to some social license things too, with people criticizing that, deciding that, the old thing that we only interested in the money, and we all know that that's untrue, but that's a criticism. When we see lay people or untrained people coming in and taking little things away from the profession, it's like, oh no, working together and getting involved with each of our VMAs in our different states and getting our members involved. And yes, I know a lot of people don't want to be in the VMA because they don't have a lot of horse stuff going. Yep. But you know what? If you get involved in your state, you have direct access to your legislators, because that's where you can get it. And there's more power in numbers. And
Now,
the legislators will listen to that. So, let's show. We don't have to advocate for ourselves. We just have to show what we do and how good we do it, and that it doesn't need to be diluted by somebody that actually doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And I mean, get involved in your local VMA. I remember back early in my career when I was in Arizona, and there was this Arizona Academy of Veterinary Practice. Well, that was who put on the CE, and nobody was very interested in it, and nobody kind of really wanted to do it. And I held my hand up and I said, hey, I'll do it. And I got to bring in these speakers that mentored my career for the rest of my life. And it was amazing. And we made an incredible CE program just because someone wanted to do it. And so you can make changes and get involved locally. And it's the old adage, get involved locally, but think globally about how we are going to do this as an entire profession. Absolutely.
And that's exactly right. We can make so much change on a local level that we can start bringing up the ladder, up the food chain, if you will, and make sure that we have a place for veterinary medicine the whole time. Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk some more about some of these various aspects, but now I want you to tell me what's been the most fun part of this year.
I've traveled a lot, in between all the things I've done, and AEP allows you to, because you're going to a lot of these events and their interaction with other veterinary things, you get to bring your spouse. So essentially, it's like, okay, to show up on an event, I'm already there. So why don't I take a few days and see something, instead of working all the time, take time and smell the roses and see some other aspects. And I've really enjoyed that. I've always tried to do that a little bit. This year it's been even a little bit more, where, Julie and I have traveled together and we've had a lot of fun. We've seen extra stuff, and it's it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I can imagine that. It's just incredible. I've followed you on Facebook and I've seen, oh my God, look where Tracy is this week. So it's been pretty cool looking at it just from a distance.
No, it was so enjoyable. Although I told somebody the other day from the 1st of July till the end of September, I was home less than 3 weeks the whole time. I mean, shoot, I come home and I pack. Well, I had one, I was in England and we did some stuff there, but I had to get back, and pack because I had committed to an FEI thing. So okay, got to work, and got to do that. And so I'm off again. And then as soon as I get back, I get a few days and then, we just finished the trip with FEVA here. And, so I have a couple weeks and then, before AAEP, Julie and I are going to Colombia actually to do some One Health discussions with equitarian things. So,
great.
Yeah, well, it's balancing everything that we do, and it's fun. Another country, another adventure.
Well, tell me a little bit about that.
What we're going to do for this is that. In Colombia, we've set it up. It's an equitarian thing, but we're also, it's all equitarian stuff has always been, yes, it's with us, it's about the equids, donkeys, mules, and horses,
right.
And how they interact with the people and how necessary they are, in the developing world just to function. Now, we're getting together with other things because this all comes under One Health is that, we need to keep these animals healthy so these people are healthy so society functions. So we're going to go do a few things. I'll be actually discussing two topics. I'm going to be discussing new castration methods. Well, it's not really new because we did this 10 years ago, but using a new tool, the equitwister that we invented during our equitarian trips. And that got invented because we needed to leave behind something that was inexpensive, easy to use, very easy to use, and even easy to reproduce if somebody wanted to reproduce it. And that's what the twister turned out to be. And oddly enough, I think it's actually a superior castration method, which we could get into lots of different arguments. But I'm like, I'm not going there. It's an instrument. It's where a goody masculator will cost you $600, this costs you less than 10.
Wow.
I mean, it's just the pieces to make a thing.
Yeah.
It's very simple. So something you can leave behind. It's based kind of on the idea of the Henderson, but you don't have to have a drill. You have to have two working arms that can, twirl a piece of metal that's in the form of a crank. And you can control it. Yeah.
Are you teaching veterinarians this, or are you teaching lay people this?
Oh, well, we don't really want to teach lay people. What we concentrate on in the countries is teaching their students. Okay. Because their education is, okay. Right. It could be better. So we teach their veterinarians in the areas, and we teach the students where we really concentrate on their students and teach the students, hey, you know what? This can be part of what you do every day. You know what? Are you going to make a fortune? Probably not, but you're doing something really important for your own community, which will make everything better in the long run. And, it's really working. I mean, Julie and I had our own project in Honduras for years until we turned that over to some younger people. And, so we've got, I think 9 different countries, and we're in each country. We're involved with veterinary schools and teaching those veterinary students, that, equine practice is good, that you can do stuff, you can help your community. And that's where we're concentrating on those sort of things. Yeah.
No, that's great. Well, so you and I have had lots of conversations over the years and about the future of veterinary medicine, where it's going. I mean, you've been the guy steering the rudder here for the last year. I think the president of AAEP makes a larger impact than probably any veterinarian in the nation. It could be argued the world. So where do you see the future of particularly equine veterinary medicine headed?
Well, I said it the other day when I gave a talk at FEMA. It's like, I literally, I wish I was 40 years younger because I think there's never been a better time to be an equine veterinarian than now. I get so excited about all the different stuff. Every single day, it seems like there's a new innovation in what we're able to do. And from our aspect where we're interested in lameness and locomotion and stuff, wow. I mean, you can reconstruct three-dimensional reconstruction of CTs and MRs and improve and using that to help people improve their radiographic skills. I think it's super exciting. I mean, I wish I would have had some of these other tools when I was teaching students how to look at lameness exams, jogging a lot of horses up and down the bay. It'd been nice to have this. Okay, here's some science stuff. Look at this, how this thing has watch and change the motion. And what's been going on for the last year that really has me excited is the wearables project that AAEP has been sponsoring that's been going on. And we're collecting data. And after the first year, we're going to see a lot of this data. And I've seen some of it myself, and it's like going, what do you want to know? It can look at a horse and watch how the routine is, and it can start to pick up subtle changes. And you can go, you know what? Nobody sees what's going wrong, but we need to really go through this animal with a fine-tooth comb because something has changed. And does that mean that it's time to retire? Does that mean we need to send you through this and this and this and find out exactly what's wrong and then see if we can restore you back to some normality? I just find the whole projects and the different kinds of data that you can get from the different types of wearables. It's like, this is going to be so much fun. And I've seen a number of them, and I know some others are out there, not in our research project because that's all racehorses. They're also looking at fast moving horses. I know of a project that's going on in polo horses, and polo horses, anything that happens there is going to translate right to the Western disciplines.
Right.
Fast moving, turn fast, quickness. Yeah. It's like you can't give me enough data because it's going to be so interesting, and it's going to up our game.
And we're going to get to the horse sooner, which that's always been one of the things I remember, when I was doing the pre-purchase, thing for AEP, and, part of one of the papers that we put out, and we talked about, why these horses are not considered successful, call it fail, why they failed to pre-purchase. And part of the data there was that a third of them on the day that they're supposed to have looked their prettiest, looked their best, they're being sold that day, and a third of them are lame.
Yeah.
And people are not appreciating that. They're not trying to bring a lame horse to the pre-purchase exam. They're trying to bring a really nice horse. But if we can come up with the wearables and tools that can help people say, gosh, we need to get this horse to the vet sooner than later, that's a tremendous advantage to everyone.
Oh, absolutely. It's get the horse to the vet sooner. And it's also now here's a way, and I've always found this, how do you actually measure strength and fitness?
And that's really hard.
It's really hard. No, but the wearables start to give us an indication of this. And so, fitness, it's hard. So the one thing I noticed during COVID, not that anybody wants to talk about it anymore, but at least in my patients I was looking at, I said, because everybody was home, they were riding the horses. I saw the greatest number of fit horses that I've ever seen in my practice. and it's like going, you know what? Ride your horse. It's a very simple thing. You get out there every day, you got to make time, and you know what? just doing it doesn't have to be hard exercise. Just get exercise and get really movement out there, and you'd be surprised how much it changes. And fitness leads to soundness.
Yeah. You've got to condition the horse. And I think that's always the dilemma. The veterinarians, they go, oh, okay, well, you fix this horse now and I want to go do this. Can I go do this? Well, hang on. What have you been doing? Do you know this horse has a fitness base? Do you know it's fit? And well, I think it is. Okay, well, and that affects so much of what we're trying to tell them. Okay, we want you to go do this. And then you sit there and you wonder, well, I wonder if this horse is really fit enough to go do what I'm wanting it to do. Oh. Maybe I better back off.
Well, no, I think that's exactly right. And I used to get a lot of clients, because they thought I was less conservative than other people. And I'm going, I'm actually more conservative, but I also believe in exercise. Now, that doesn't mean you're galloping, trotting your horse. No, that means you're exercising your horse, and walking is a great exercise. So in a rehabilitation program, I was like, well, no, at the walk, the horse has at least 3 legs on the ground at any one time. It's really hard to get hurt doing that. But yet you can start to build up strength. You can start to ask the horse to do things to help their motion. And I learned that early on, but it's trying to push that on to people because they think they have to do this, or having clients go, well, I rode for 45 minutes. Yeah. What'd you do? Well, I talked to the neighbor for 15 and, yeah, okay. That's not really work. But but I think these wearables are something that will really change the way, we look at stuff. I was joking. It's like, we need to invest in some of these ourselves, because I think there's going to be money to be made.
Well, and we looked at those at the project and you helped initiate that project with AAEP and USEF and FEI. And there was a project that looked at best practices, and a white paper was created out of that. And part of the lecture that, either current or past team veterinarians and people very involved in the sports world, looked at that. And one of the lectures was wearables. And I was really excited with that. And that's kind of what you're talking about, that there'll be more information about that out next year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there will be, it'll start coming out, because we're going to start analyzing this, getting analyzed as we talk, but it'll be fully analyzed, and we're really going to be able to see the different aspects, which instruments are easy, exactly. So there'll be a lot of that coming out. And I'm glad you brought up our best practices thing, because even from that, and we had some research ideas that came out of that, and I'm glad to tell you that a couple of those ideas are going to get funded.
Oh, great!
They came right out of that, and will be funding. And AAEP. So here I'll be since I'm not only AAEP president, I'm also president of the Foundation for the Horse. See, most people don't know that. And the Foundation for the Horse this year, we're going to fund $400,000 worth of research.
Wow.
And I think, to me, that's a real wow factor. That's playing with the big boys now. And I think we're second only to Grayson in the amount of research money we provide for equine research.
Well, that's tremendous. And that's going to go a lot of different places and directions. And that's going to help not only the racehorse, but the show horse and the more fat, chunky horse that, of course, you and I never see those horses.
No, never.
And they need a little research too. But no, that's tremendous. Well, one of the things that we've talked about over the years has been, and I know it's been an interest of yours, in what can we do to help today's students? And you've already mentioned some stuff, but I know it's it's a tremendous thing. And I like what you were saying about that AEP is strengthening their relationships with the clinicians at the schools, because, you know, in the past years, you've heard, oh, well, if there's an equine student who's interested in doing equine medicine surgery, but then they get told by some clinicians, oh, don't go do that. You know, go do small animal, then you can ride your horse. And, you know, that's not how we get good people into our aspect of the profession. So I know that's been a huge amount of interest for you and work you've done on it. So tell us a little bit about that.
So, yes, students are a priority. The pipeline's a priority. And one of the things we talked about was that exact thing, is that, and it's a two-edged sword. One of our past presidents is Emma Reed from The Ohio State. There, I said it, The Ohio State University. Anyway, but she was the past president 3 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, and she pointed out it's a two-edged sword. So yes, that goes on at the universities, and we've made a push in talking to deans and everything else, going, we've appreciated other faculty. We don't talk about you. You don't talk about us. You know, we sell our own areas ourselves, and let's let them sell on the benefits. And so that if that's going on, you know, we've asked that, you know, even faculty advisors going, point them out to us, and you know, we can have a chat that this is inappropriate. Discussion with the students.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
It's absolutely wrong. You know, and well, they say, you know, we don't make money. We've already proved that actually salaries are going up, and that's been a huge thing. The salaries are way better than they originally discussed. Are they below small animal? Yeah, but we work on a better species, right? We get to work on horses, and you know what? And they're, anyway. So we get to work on horses. So that's really good. And trying to just ensure that these students are going to have opportunities. So, you know, we've talked about in our new the X series, the wet labs, the small wet labs that we're doing, right. Actually that, you know, we're trying to figure out how could we do boot camps for, you know, people coming out of school. You know, here's a really intense course, you know, to make sure that your skills are where you want them to. Because, you know, you think back going, yeah, everybody that gets out of graduates veterinary school, they're like going, yeah, I'm ready. But we all know that, you know, you're scared. Because you're about to enter the real world. And it's like, oh, so how do we prepare them? And there's lots of different ways. You know, we saw students at World Equestrian Games that came in, and they learned so much when they got to work in those areas and working with people like you and Jean-Marie and all the rest of the people, whether it's an invaluable experience. We've also seen that when students come with us to go on some of our equitarian trips. Well, you want to learn about physical examination stuff, come on one of these trips, you know, and participate. And, you know, you're out there for about a week and you get a year's worth of experience. And it's all here in the hands, you know, it's all in the senses, because no, we don't have radiography. We don't have a CT. We don't have a lab in there to do anything. You have to do it all by your physical, and you learn it because you know it. All these students are bright. They come out and they're really smart young people. And, you know, here it is. Just use it. All you have to do is start to learn how you use it, and it'll start to form. The other thing that's just recently happened, because it was just announced the other day, which I think is a good thing, the American Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges just announced their new CEO, and that is Emma Reed.
Really?
An equine. Oh yeah.
Oh, you know, great.
Equine person, a past president of AAEP. So it's like going, you know what? Hey, horses are going to take, you know, we're going to lead again like we did. Veterinary medicine exists because of horse doctors.
And that is absolutely true. You know, you think of so many things that where you talk with your small animal colleague or a classmate, or in my case, my sister, and you go, they go, oh, well, we're starting to use Adequan intermuscular. And I go, gosh, we've been doing that for 25 years, 30 years.
Exactly.
We're doing this now. And I go, well, yeah, we've been doing that in equine for about 10 or 15 now. And so many of the innovations that are moving the small animal world forward were hammered out in the equine world.
Exactly. Being also in the College of Sports Medicine and Rehabilitation, it's like going, small animal people, they're talking actually about flexing joints on animals, going, yeah, we've been doing that for a while too. And it's the whole thing. But even if you look at our own profession, veterinary medicine started 300 years ago because of horses, not because of the dogs, not because of the cats, because of the horses, because you need that. If you didn't have a horse, you were way behind the eight ball, and they had to be healthy. They had to be ready to go. And it's just happened. And this, it's actually been one of the fun things that's happened as I've gone through these things. I like history anyway. So I've gone back and I've done a lot of things looking at the history of equine plus the history of AAEP. And, it's all come together, and now to me, it's culminating to this is, like I said before, this is the most exciting time. I can't think of a better time to be an equine veterinarian, because it's only going to get better. It's going to get more exciting. And there's so many different opportunities, and you just have, to avail yourself of these things that come up.
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention to you that ISELP started doing on the student side is we've had a program that we've been trying to launch and have intermittently off and on over the years, but now we're trying to get into a really solid program where we are making educational material that is purpose made for students, and
Perfect.
how you ultrasound, the anatomy involved, what you're looking at, how you do it, hand-eye coordination, the details, and then we're putting that with the clinician in the school and the student groups who want to work with it, and we're providing that video. We're providing ultrasounds if they need it, but most clinics or schools won't need it. And we have money to pay that clinician to spend a couple hours with those students going through ultrasound, so that when they graduate, they know they've had an ultrasound in their hand and they've looked at a horse's various structures, backs, tendons, ligaments. So that's been something we've been real proud of that we've gotten off the ground this year.
Perfect. You know what? And I would say, let me know how we can help, put you through our student group too, to make sure, you're getting to the right people that you need. Because I know some of these universities, it gets hard to get into them, but we've got contacts everywhere now.
Well, the student chapters of the AAEP they're the lifeblood of the equine students. So
yes.
Yeah, we're happy to work together, and I think that's what makes it all work here, is that we're all involved in wanting to ensure that equine pipeline continues to be filled with quality people, and that's how we're going to have people sitting here doing what you and I are doing now 50 years later.
Yes. And communication between people and between organizations, because we're all in the same boat, and talking together and et cetera. So yeah, our student committee, and actually part of our student committee is actually even students. There'll be students involved in the committee that can get that information that's available transmitted even faster, because somehow these young people have a communication system that I don't completely understand, and it involves more than a phone. But they get it out. So it's let me know how we can help and working together. Cause I think that's great. That's what we need. We need more of that can get in there and they can see that, because what they're going to learn is that they need to be, lifelong learners, because that's what veterinary school is going to teach you. You're going to be a lifelong learner, and everything that you do builds upon something that you did previously.
I've talked to a few of my colleagues in ISELP, and they've sat there and said, I think I'm gonna kill the professor who taught me anatomy because he didn't teach it to me enough. And I said, well, do you think maybe we weren't paying enough attention to it at the time and we didn't know how important it was going to be? Well, that's a possibility.
Yes. No, I used to teach my students that, you know what? You know what this is all about? Anatomy. Okay, throw some physiology in there, but yeah, once you know your anatomy, the rest of it starts to fall into place.
Yeah. No. Well, Tracy, this has been tremendous visiting with you. I've really enjoyed it. And I know you've had a whirlwind of a year, and it's been crazy, and I'm sure it all flashed by too fast. But, tell me what final thoughts you want the listeners to know from you.
That I think the future's bright. We're working on several different aspects going forward for your profession. I mean, I freely admit that I'm about to put on the slag heap of irrelevance, as my year comes to an end, but everything else will continue. I mean, and it all continues. Get involved, stay involved, and you don't have to jump in with both feet. But get involved so you're in the know and you know what's going on so you don't get left behind, because a lot of exciting things are going to happen. A lot of exciting things are happening, and it will only make your life and your career and your work with horses better.
Well, and I can add, and pay it forward just like you have done. You've been tremendous that way. And so, for the listeners, if you've got an opportunity to help young veterinarians, students, other colleagues, grab it and help people, because that's, if you remember back, and we both can look back and think of so many people who were so critical to our careers at just the time you needed them to be.
Yes. Completely agree. And mentorship, each of us can be a mentor to each other and continue it. And I like the way you put that. Pay it forward. Cause that's how we keep the profession going forward.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Tracy. Really enjoyed this, and, we will look forward to seeing you down the road and more issues of ISELP in Motion.